Welcome to Volume 3 of our AlmaLinux 9.2 web server setup series on Windows 11. In our previous volumes, we laid the foundation for creating a virtual machine-based web server. However, due to brevity constraints, some topics were left unexplored in Volume 2. In this video, we address these missed points comprehensively. Topics include installing EPEL release, enhancing security with fail2ban, monitoring system resources using Htop, configuring firewalls, enabling VNC service and analyzing web traffic with GoAccess. By the end, you'll have a robust, secure web server with advanced monitoring and development capabilities. Let's dive in. But before we get started, we need to establish a connection to our AlmaLinux 9.2 server. We'll be using PuTTY on our Windows 11 host machine. Now, one important thing to remember is that to achieve this connection, we'll employ port forwarding. Port forwarding is a way to securely connect to your server by redirecting network traffic from your host machine, in this case, Windows 11, to your AlmaLinux 9.2 server. Alright, now that we're connected, let's talk about some crucial software. Fail2ban, GoAccess, and Htop are essential tools for enhancing your server's security and monitoring capabilities. However, these applications are not part of the standard distribution. To access these software packages, we need to tap into the EPEL, Extra Packages for Enterprise Linux, repository. EPEL provides additional packages not included in the default AlmaLinux repository. With the necessary software in place, let's address another crucial aspect: port management. There may be certain ports that we don't need for our server's operation. To tighten security, we'll use the Firewall cmd command to withdraw access to these unneeded ports, such as cockpit, VNC, etc. Sudo fail2ban client status sshd is the command used to check which IPs are banned at a particular instance. However, it's important to note that you need to first run the system service fail2ban using the systemfil command. For the fail2ban service, the most important element is the configuration file, located at /etc/fail2ban/jail.local. In this file, ban time indicates how long a particular IP will be banned, and sshd is the service name. The max retry entry specifies the maximum number of login attempts allowed before the system locks or bans the IP. Htop has a beautiful interface and provides an interactive form of server monitoring tool. Instead of the PS and top commands, it serves as a visually appealing replacement. The Tiger VNC server provides VNC, virtual network computing, services through the utilization of two key configuration files. These files play integral roles in defining how the VNC server functions. The first configuration file, located at /etc/tigervnc/funcservers.users, is responsible for specifying which terminal or channel will be allocated to a particular user. This allocation is essential for effectively managing multiple users accessing the VNC server concurrently. The second configuration file, located at .vnc/config within the user's home directory, is where most of the GUI technical specifications are controlled. These specifications include settings related to the appearance and functionality of the VNC server's graphical user interface. In compliance with the VNC protocol, a channel is designated for each user, with the first user being assigned to channel number 1, corresponding to port 5901, and subsequent users being assigned to subsequent channels, such as channel number 2 for port 5902, and so on. This channel allocation ensures that each user has a distinct communication path to the VNC server. To enhance security, a password must be set for each user accessing the VNC server. This can be achieved by using the vncpassword command. When prompted, users should create a unique password, which they will subsequently need to enter when connecting to the VNC server to verify their identity. This password helps protect the VNC session from unauthorized access, adding an extra layer of security to the VNC service. To restart the VNC service, you can issue the following command: sudo systemctl restart vncserver at 1. This command is essential for restarting the VNC server instance that corresponds to display number 1. You can similarly manage VNC server instances for multiple users by creating multiple entries, such as vncserver at 2, vncserver at 3, and so on. Each of these entries represents a distinct VNC server instance tied to a specific display number, allowing multiple users to simultaneously access the server. To check the status of the VNC service, you can employ the systemctl command. By running a command like systemctl service a state running, you can retrieve information about all the services that are currently running on your system. This allows you to verify the operational status of your VNC server instances and other services in a single view. Additionally, you can use the netstat command to gain insights into the status of your VNC service and the associated port information. Netstat is a powerful networking utility that provides detailed information about network connections, routing tables, interface statistics, masquerade connections, and more. When you use netstat in conjunction with the VNC service, you can monitor the status of the VNC server, including the ports it is using for communication. This is particularly useful for troubleshooting and ensuring that the VNC service is functioning as expected. Since the VNC server is running on port number 5901, you can access the graphical user interface (GUI) of a virtual machine (VM) using an application like UltraVNC Viewer from your host machine. To achieve this, you typically need to configure port forwarding. Port forwarding allows you to route network traffic from one port on your local host to another port on the remote server or virtual machine. In this context, you want to forward traffic from port 45901 on your local host to port 5901 on the VM where the VNC server is running. This means that when you connect with UltraVNC Viewer, it will direct its requests to your local host's port 45901, which will then be forwarded to the VM's VNC server on port 5901. Another method commonly used for secure access to a remote VNC server is through an SSH tunnel. By establishing an SSH tunnel, you can encrypt the VNC traffic for added security. To do this, you'd initiate an SSH connection to the remote server or VM with port forwarding enabled. This would allow you to access the VNC server on the remote machine securely. The SSH tunnel essentially acts as a secure conduit for VNC traffic between your local host and the VM. In summary, when connecting to the VNC server on your VM, you can either set up port forwarding from port 45901 on your local host to port 5901 on the VM or use an SSH tunnel for secure access. Both methods enable you to access the VM's GUI using UltraVNC Viewer from your host machine. Now, in the remote GUI, using the Firefox browser, we are verifying two services. The cockpit service can be accessed at localhost 9090, and the basic web page can be accessed at localhost. Both services are functioning properly. Now, we're going to introduce you to a powerful tool called GoAccess. It's an open-source, real-time web log analyzer and interactive viewer that operates in a terminal on Unix-like systems or even through your web browser. GoAccess is the go-to choice for system administrators who need fast and insightful HTTP statistics, all at their fingertips. We'll be demonstrating both variations of the command for GoAccess. Web servers store their log information in various files, so the name of the input files may need to be changed, as well as the format. For instance, in our case, we'll be generating reports for the access_log, both in the terminal and from a file. As for the SSL_access_log, it's exclusively in file format. The beauty of it all is that using a web browser, like Firefox, you can easily visualize and interpret both reports. So, whether you're working in the terminal or prefer a browser-based approach, GoAccess has you covered. Let's dive in and explore this fantastic tool. We hope you found this video valuable in enhancing your server skills. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Your support motivates us to keep bringing you quality tutorials. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask in the comments below. Stay tuned for more exciting tech guides, and happy server management.